Look closely at this woman, 33-year-old Kouri Richins, a successful real estate entrepreneur from Utah, a charismatic mother of 3 young boys, and a woman who suddenly became the tragic face of public mourning. In March 2022, her 39-year-old husband, Eric Richins, died under mysterious circumstances in their family home. Kouri appeared completely devastated, but instead of retreating into private grief, she did something that stunned behavioral analysts. She turned her family's tragedy into a highly profitable media brand. She wrote and self-published an illustrated children's book titled Are You With Me?, a heartwarming story designed to help children cope with the sudden loss of a father. Kouri embarked on a massive media tour. She sat on the couches of morning television shows, looking directly into the cameras with tearful eyes, promoting herself as a beacon of maternal strength. Criminologists call this phenomenon the archetype of the saintly widow. It is a deliberate, highly calculated social mask used by covert narcissists to preemptively neutralize suspicion.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me?, Kouri Richins, to share her 3 C's to helping kids cope with grief.
And, hoping that it can kind of help other kids,
So the first one you had mentioned was connection of the 3 C's, keeping the person's spirit alive. The second, continuity.
Yes, exactly. And so I've done, I'm new to all of this, so kind of doing, research on top of just loving your kids and hugging them and kissing them and, extra cuddles and everything.
By establishing herself as the ultimate symbol of grief, Kouri believed she was building an impenetrable psychological shield. She wanted the world to see a broken-hearted mother. But behind that literary mask lay a chilling reality. Kouri Richins wasn't mourning her husband's death. She was celebrating the successful execution of a cold-blooded murder. Welcome back to Behind the Lie. Today, we are dissecting the terrifying criminal psychology of Kouri Richins. How did a mother rewrite her own crime into a children's fairy tale? And what did her secret jailhouse letters reveal that led to her permanent life sentence? Let's look behind the lie. To the citizens of Kamas, Utah, the Richins family lived in absolute luxury. They owned a massive estate, drove expensive cars, and Kouri's house-flipping business seemed to be booming. But forensic accountants later uncovered a terrifying state of financial desperation. Kouri was drowning in over $4 million of secret debt. She had taken out fraudulent hard money loans, forged her husband's signature on life insurance policies, and was systematically draining Eric's bank accounts to keep her real estate empire from collapsing. Eric began to notice the missing funds. He didn't suspect his wife was a predator. He simply believed she was making bad business choices. For his own financial security, Eric secretly met with a lawyer, changed his estate plan, and removed Kouri from his will, leaving everything to his children under the protection of his sister. Kouri, unaware of the secret will but deeply aware that Eric was becoming a liability, decided it was time to collect the insurance payout. Her first strike came on February 14, 2022, Valentine's Day. Kouri prepared a romantic sandwich for her husband. Within minutes of taking a bite, Eric became violently ill. He broke out in hives, began to suffocate, and lost consciousness. Eric survived that night only because he managed to find his childhood EpiPen and injected himself with adrenaline. He later called his sister, whispering a chilling prophecy, "I think my wife is trying to poison me." This was Kouri's first case of premeditation leakage. Psychopaths often become sloppy during their first attempts because their empathy deficit blinds them to how suspicious their actions look to the outside world. Eric survived Valentine's Day, but he failed to realize that his home was no longer a sanctuary. It was a hunting ground. On the night of March 3, 2022, Kouri Richins decided to fix her financial disaster once and for all. Under the pretext of celebrating a successful property sale, she brought a glass of a Moscow Mule cocktail to Eric in their master bedroom. But this drink was spiked with 5 times the lethal dose of illicit fentanyl.
911, what's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, what's the address? 282 Willow Court.
Eric drank it, and within an hour his respiratory system began to fail. What followed is what forensic profilers call forensic staging, the deliberate manipulation of a crime scene and a sequence of events to simulate a natural medical emergency. At 3:22 a.m., Kouri dialed emergency services, unleashing a theatrical performance of panic. She screamed to the dispatcher that she had just found her husband cold to the touch and was actively performing CPR, but the physical world doesn't lie. When paramedics arrived, they noted a profound autonomic mismatch. Kouri's skin was completely dry, her heart rate was within normal baseline parameters, and her clothing was perfectly undisturbed. There was no physical evidence of the heavy physiological exertion required to perform chest compressions on an adult male. Furthermore, the medical examiner confirmed that Eric's lungs were already filled with fluid, proving he had been dead for hours before Kouri even picked up the phone. She had waited in the dark, watching him stop breathing, meticulously planning her fake rescue narrative. Every narcissistic criminal falls victim to the exact same cognitive trap, the illusion of digital erasure, the arrogant belief that pressing delete on a smartphone screens reality from forensic technology. While Kouri Richins was busy organizing her lavish property-flipping empire, digital forensics teams from the FBI were quietly uncovering the ghosts inside her iPhone. Investigators recovered a series of chilling deleted search queries that Kouri had typed into Google and Amazon in the weeks leading up to the murder. Look at this chronological timeline. She searched, "What is a lethal dose of fentanyl?" Followed by, "Can police look at deleted text messages?" and "How to erase an iPhone remotely." This is what profiling calls cyber premeditation, the digital staging of a homicide, where every keystroke creates an indelible forensic trail. But the absolute nail in her defense's coffin came from her house cleaner and secret dealer, Carmen Lauber. Carmen testified under oath that Kouri had approached her in a state of high anxiety, demanding she secure, quote, "some of that Michael Jackson stuff," a dark, street-level slang code for powerful pharmaceutical-grade opioids. Kouri thought she was operating like a covert operative, weaving a web of untraceable digital dust. But in reality, she was typing her own arrest warrant, pixel by pixel, leaving a trail of binary evidence that completely shattered her innocence. Even behind the high concrete walls of the Summit County Jail, Kouri Richins refused to surrender her control over the narrative. Psychopaths with high narcissistic traits believe that walls and bars cannot limit their intellectual superiority. In September 2023, during a routine sweep of her cell, tactical guards uncovered a shocking piece of evidence hidden deep under her mattress. It was a 60-page, handwritten letter addressed to her mother, Lisa Dinsmore, containing a highly classified sub-document codenamed "Walk the Dog." This letter is a textbook example of witness tampering and narrative fabricating. Kouri wasn't writing about her conditions. She was writing a literal script for a federal conspiracy. In her frantic handwriting, Kouri ordered her mother to instruct her brother Ronald to lie under oath. She wrote, "Tell Ron to say that Eric got pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico. He needs to testify that Eric was a drug addict. This is the only way I walk." When the prosecution entered this letter into evidence, Kouri's defensive shield shattered instantly. Look at the psychological desperation here. She didn't rely on truth or forensic science. She actively tried to defile her dead husband's memory, turning him into an addict just to escape justice. But what Kouri didn't realize was that the state was also intercepting her jailhouse phone calls. In those recordings, which we are about to play, her performative crying vanishes. Her tone is cold, structured, and entirely focused on manipulating the media, proving that even in an orange jumpsuit, the saintly widow was still calling the shots.
I know, I'm just like so annoyed by that. Like, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Obviously, if
And
one
it's
party's
kinda like-
gonna do it, the other party's probably gonna do it to see what the fuck.
Right? And it's like,
Like, common sense.
you know, regarding your side of stuff, nothing came out of that. What came out of the other side?
Exactly.
Oh, illegal transfer everything.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
A lot came out of that.
Yes, I just went in for a consultation, that was it.
Great, and worked in favor for you for everything.
Yep.
Nothing,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just like so fucking annoyed by it though. Like, quit portraying me to be this person.
Yeah.
Anything you're trying to say I did, Eric did. Like, so now they cancel each other out, you fucking idiots. Like,
In May 2026, inside a tense courtroom in Utah, the final curtain fell on Kouri Richins' literary performance. As the prosecution presented the mountain of digital forensic evidence, criminologists noticed a severe process of narcissistic collapse taking place behind the defense table. Look closely at her physical behavior captured by the cameras of court TV. Notice how frequently Kouri licks her lips. In forensic psychology, this is an involuntary autonomic response to extreme stress. The sympathetic nervous system restricts salivary glands, causing an immediate dry mouth from the terror of exposure. When the charges are read, watch her touch her hair and adjust her collar. These are classic pacifying behaviors, subconscious self-soothing gestures used to lower blood pressure when a deceptive individual feels intellectually trapped. And then came the most performative act of all, her tears. Kouri repeatedly rubbed her eyes and collapsed her face into her hands, attempting to showcase a display of profound grief to the jury. But look at her baseline physiology. There is an absolute absence of lacrimal secretion, no actual tears, no facial flushing, no nasal congestion. It was a sterile, calculated simulation of sadness. Her micro-expressions didn't scream innocence, they betrayed absolute panic. On May 13, 2026, the exact day that would have been her late husband's birthday, the judge handed Kouri Richins a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the legal shockwaves are vibrating right now, in July 2026. Just weeks ago, Kouri's defense team launched a high-stakes appeal, demanding a total mistrial and accusing the state of unprecedented misconduct. The children's author who tried to rewrite a brutal homicide into a comforting fairy tale is now locked behind concrete walls forever. She believed her social status and literary mask made her invisible. But in the dark world of forensic psychology, every lie leaves a footprint, and the truth always has the final word. Drop your thoughts below. Do you see a calculated predator or a victim of circumstantial evidence? Thank you for watching Behind the Lie. Stay vigilant.